I'm gonna tell you about my hospital stay because I've been wanting to talk about it. So I'm on like, yeah, so basically I noticed something in common. I used to have these attacks. The last time I had an attack like this was beauty bite. Like 6 years ago. It was when I was with my ex, maybe even longer than that. Before I have a history of having ovarian cysts, and it's hormone related, hormonal issue. And my gynecologist told me many times, eat clean, limit the carbs, you know, limit the dairy, limit inflammatory foods, which are my favorite food, of course. I'm dumb. Don't listen. Just do what I want to do, you know. So I'm paying the piper. But basically, I had a couple bad attacks. And when I think back and I notice what triggers the attacks, let's say, okay, the first attack I had was right after I ate a poutine with extra cheese. Oh man, that was a bad attack. And I had those ovarian cysts. Then, the one after that was after eating extra cheese pizza. And now, do you want a bite of this, guys? And now the most recent, I had finished eating, you're gonna really give me shit, a cheesy cheddar burger and 10 chicken nuggets from Wendy's. Anyway, I'm driving home. It was about 5 p.m. Friday. I start feeling a ping, like, in my ovary area. It's hard to tell because your organs, like your bowels and things, they're all so close together down there. But I start feeling a cramp. And it was brought back horrible memories of the time that I had my attacks. Oh my gosh. When I had the ovaries, the cyst removed, it stopped. But now I have two 16 centimeter. So I think they're about 6 inches, one on each ovary, large cyst. Pain was unbearable. I'm like, just make it home. I got home, I got violently ill, and I went into a fetal position, and at around 3 in the morning, BB was like, we need to go to a hospital. So I called an ambulance, went to the hospital. The hospital people at the Ottawa General Hospital are amazing. You know, they took me off the stretcher. I was in a wheelchair. This beautiful young nurse comes up to me and was like, do you want something for pain? She gave me like a cocktail. She gave me like, I was in so much pain, guys. I was delirious. She gave me an injection of something. I think it was Dilaudid, like a super amount of Dilaudid. And instantly I was just like, maybe like a minute later, I was so high. I was just like, oh yeah. Now I know why this stuff is addictive, you know? So I'm like, that's better. She gave me something for nausea and an anti-inflammatory. Then I had to wait in this exam room. You know, she figured the doctor would want to examine me, so a resident doctor came in. And, I mean, I couldn't do anything by myself. I couldn't wipe myself. I couldn't, because the pain was so bad, like I could hardly move. And moving made it worse. Anyway, so I'm in the ER. Eventually, you know, they're like, we should admit you for pain control and until we can determine. They've sent me for a CT scan. My pancreas and all the other organs were okay, the bowels. They gave me a lot of blood work, and my liver enzymes were elevated. They did a CA-125 test, which is like to test for like cancer proteins or whatever. And no, there are some in my blood, so I'm worried about that. The last cysts I had removed had precancerous cells, so, or abnormal cells, or whatever you call them. So I need to get them out, and I absolutely take care of my health. So yeah, so for those commenting, you know, maybe it's the shit food you're eating. It's absolutely, it's not for everybody. Diet is not always just the culprit. There are people who are healthy who get cysts, but for me, I know that because I'm unhealthy the way I am is where I'm getting the complications from. So I get admitted to the hospital. It's like 3 in the morning. And while I'm waiting to get to a room, if they can find me a bed, I'm in this like holding room on a bed. The pain is still, oh, it was bad. It was throbbing. It was radiating through my whole stomach. I was nauseous, trying to sleep. I'm drugged up. They wheel this girl in who apparently is getting surgery tomorrow or the next day. And her whole friggin' family of 10 members and her boyfriend come in. And they're loud. They're talking loud, like really loud. And I'm just like, oh my God. Her boyfriend came in before her family members, and I hear him go, "Can I get a little something, something before your surgery?" Dude! So then, I don't think they realized we were there because the curtain was drawn. So then, they find me a room, and I'm on the 7th floor. And it's a shared room. I had to share a room with this elderly woman. So bad. I guess she was like, I think she was dying. I heard her talking to her family on the phone, and the nurse coming in. She had a very large cyst as well. It was cancer. It was a malignant tumor on her ovaries. She was in bad shape. I was so delirious though, like I think I was hallucinating from the drugs, the cocktail of drugs they were giving me for pain. And throughout the night, like I had my curtain drawn around me, but the curtain was like beige. I could swear I could hear her walking around like the room. I could see her IV pole, a shadow of an old woman like with her IV pole, and the creaking of the sound, like, you know. I think I was just hallucinating because I don't think she was out and about walking around. And then there's this one guy that kept having to call a code white, which is like a psychiatric incident. This one guy kept yelling. You would just be, you know, getting the pain meds would be kicking, dozing off. And all of a sudden, Alan! 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 This guy was calling for this guy, Alan. Every night. Always in the middle of the night. I don't know what his problem was. It was kind of scared me. Even the lady beside me, I heard her talking to her daughter. She's like, somebody keeps calling for Alan. There's no Alan that I know of. Maybe his son, I don't know. It sounded like a young guy though. Hadn't eaten anything in the hospital. I hadn't eaten anything since that cheesy cheddar burger, which didn't stay down long. So disgusting. That's not food. But with my gut in the state it was in, like contracting C. difficile, which put me in my own room, by the way. I had my own room because I was on contact precautions. So they put me in my own room, and I had a window view, and I could see into the windows across into the next building, like other people in their hospital beds. And I saw this one person in a hospital bed, and there was like, I don't know, again I was high on the hydromorphine, but it was like, it looked like 8 people just hovering around the person, just looking at them. And I was like, is that spooky, or is the person dying? I don't know what's going on. I'll tell you guys what I had. I had, so my breakfast, yeah, so they would bring like Fiber One cereal, 2% milk, fruit juice, then these like gross hard pancakes with like a little thing of syrup. Then lunch was like a veggie lasagna, but it was like dry. There was like no cheese on it, which is probably a good thing. But it was just like really, it wasn't good. It was like all dried out. some beef and barley soup, which had no beef or barley. It just had like brown liquid with like floating celery, a couple carrots, a stale bun. Then supper was like Salisbury steak, which I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. It was like a grayish slab of some kind of meat with like a little gelatinous sauce, kind of like this on top of it. Green beans, which were kind of freezer burnt, and some lumpy mashed potatoes. I had the mashed potatoes and the green beans. I started getting my appetite back at that point because I hadn't eaten since Friday. And yeah, and then they gave you like a Cozy Shack brand chocolate pudding. I had that. That was really good. And so I'm trying not. I got my prescriptions filled. I'm taking the antibiotics for the C. difficile. That's important. I'm on naproxen, which is an anti-inflammatory you take every 12 hours. I'm on something for the stomach.